Alright, YouTube. I'm back. This is my new cell phone because my old cell phone died. I can't tell you the story behind that, but somebody put coffee on my old cell phone. This is a public service announcement. Somebody tried to hack my YouTube channel and my email, and unfortunately, all the YouTube videos I made on my 4 YouTube channels were all linked to my email, and I had to create a new email and a new password, and it cost me a lot of money. Now, this is a message to all my subscribers who watch those YouTube channels very frequently. It took me a while to create a new YouTube channel, and we're gonna upload some videos. I had some temporary setbacks. I also got some stuff I'm not going to talk about here on YouTube because it's against the rules. I promised a girl that I have a crush on that I would not talk about our fallout or our communication and our dealings on YouTube anymore. I mean, I talked about it, but it's out of respect for her. And at this point, it's one of those things where we're just friends slash co-workers, nothing else, and things of that nature. Now, this YouTube video is going to be a nice way of saying we're going to pick up where we left off. Now, I will eventually get a flash drive and see if I can upload some of those videos onto this new channel. It's not a 100% guarantee because YouTube has some rules that you got to follow. And one of those rules you have to follow is that you can't take a camera and film YouTube videos from your original YouTube channel because that's a big no-no. They think you're going to be doing what they call a copyright infringement. So I either get a flash drive or do digital download. Now, I might be able to get away with it with a flash drive because I already have it on a flash drive to upload onto a new channel. But with digital download, you can cause a virus. So it's still not a guarantee if I can get the original videos and upload them onto this new channel. So don't be thinking I abandon you men and stop talking about self-improvement. Now, today's episode is going to be Sex Talk, episode 37 or 38. This one's going to be called A Woman's Actions Are Louder Than Her Words. Now, some women might call this a female woman bashing video. It's not a woman bashing video. It's to help men understand what we be dealing with in everyday society when it comes to sex and dating with women. This is for men from the age of 18 to 29. Because there's a lot of you men that are confused as I am confused. There are a lot of you men that want the answers to the questions as I want the answers to the questions. And a lot of us want to know why we're not getting too far with women. And we're here to talk about something that they talk about in the news media. And that is, what is the idea of women rolling their eyes and giving men hell because they're not 20% of men. Now, I feel like I want to say to some women, you got to give some men a break, okay? Some guys were not born 6'2", 240 pounds of muscle. You got to give some guys a break. They were not born athletically gifted to play basketball and football. So you got to give some of these men a break, okay, ladies? They're not natural genetic wonders like me, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Magic Johnson. They're not natural genetic wonders like us. So you got to give some of these guys a break. Now, when a woman tell you that she don't find you physically, sexually attractive, and I'm going to say it again, usually there's an answer for this. A lot of times women obsession of celebrities plays a strong factor. Every woman has a crush on celebrities, and I'm going to make a sex talk video probably tomorrow or Tuesday on my day off from work called My Hollywood Crushes, because I've never made that YouTube video. And then, of course, I might have to make a part 2, sex in the workplace on Valentine's Day, because we are in February. And I do know a lot of guys are going to be saying, well, I don't have a Valentine's, and I'm miserable, and I'm tired of seeing the Chads and the Tyrones get all the chicks. So I'm probably going to have to make a damn video for that, too. And then make some movie reviews, because it's been a while since I've done some movie reviews, which means I have to make another reserved channel. So, yeah, you can see where this is going. Now, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, and 365 days a year, the very vast majority of men have been discriminated against by the opposite sex. And I'm not saying women don't need to have high levels of expectation. What I'm saying is, when these women do this, it usually has something to do with seeing something from a movie, television show, a book, or from off the internet, which is social media. And a lot of these women are chasing after basketball players, football players, rock stars, rappers, filmmakers, film producers, music producers, anyone that's rich and famous. Whereas Big Boss Calvin 83 loves to say it until you're blue in the face: money, looks, and status. Well, a lot of women like that because the man's already established. This guy already has a made reputation. It's what Tony Montana said in the movie Scarface. First, you gotta get your name out there. Then you gotta turn around and get some power. First, you get the money so you can get the power, and then you get the money and the power, you get the respect, and only until you have those three things, you get a thing called PUSSY, and you already know what that is. And that's a true statement by Tony Montana. If you watch the movie Scarface uncensored and uncut, what was the one thing that he was facing? Rejection, right? Here he is trying to get accepted into the drug trade. And here's this, beautiful woman played by Hollywood actress Michelle Pfeiffer. And she rejected him not once. She rejected him a total of 3 times in the whole entire movie. And it wasn't until he figured out how to get rich and he became notorious. I won't say famous, but he became notorious for what he did. And then he took the woman from his own boss, which, I recommend you don't do that because, that's just a headache. But my point is, he did it. And you see, that lets you know right there that that's what we face in America. Now, when a woman fantasizes about a basketball player, a football player, a rapper, an R&B singer, a rock star, or I want to get into the movies and the television show, so I want to get with these actors and television and film. A lot of times, that's what you're up against. 20% of men. And you see, these guys are already established. These guys are already made. They already have a reputation. And 90% of the time when you get rejected, it's usually because the woman's not going to deem you physically, sexually attractive. Even if you are, on an occasion, a handsome, good-looking man like me, you still can get rejected. You still can get fake phone numbers, fake email addresses, and it doesn't matter if it's at school, doesn't matter if it's at the gym, the workplace. That's the most common place where most men get rejected, is at their job. You see a girl that you have the hots for, and she'll respond to you, well, I just want to deal with you when it comes to work and nothing else. And sometimes you got to learn how to respect that, as painful and hurtful and humiliating that is. You just have to respect it. And usually 5 years later, or 10 or 15 years later, you see that girl again. By that time period, she's got 2 or 3 kids. She's either married or divorced. And then because of her financial situation, her living situation, now she finds you physically, sexually attractive. Problem is, it's 10 years later, it's 15 years later, it's 20 years later. See, at that time, the woman did not care about you. But because she's 30, 35, or 40 years old, now she cares. And some men will look at that as being a hypocrite. And for the most part, most women are hypocritical because they always have some type of excuse on why they don't want to get with you. But if they see a professional basketball player or a football player, then that's the man they want to get with. And what most of these women fail to understand is professional basketball players, football players, are guys that only see having sex with women as an opportunity. Meaning, once they have sex with a woman, that's the end of the thrill for them. Okay, I had sex with you, now bye, see you later. Translation, pump and dump. Now, it is disrespectful to do to women, but you got some black women and some white women and some Latino women and some foreign women and some women that are mixed that have fell victim to this because they could not see that 20% of rich men are only interested in pump and dump. They're not interested in relationships and getting married and having kids. Now, the reason why some athletes get caught up and get a girl pregnant is because usually these guys fall in love with a girl, and then you get the veteran basketball player saying, man, the girl's a hoe, why you loving a hoe? And then the basketball player is in love with a hoe, or the football player is in love with a hoe, or the baseball player or the rock stars in love with a hoe. So you get a case where these guys are in love, and the guy that's been playing basketball for 15 years, 20 years is telling them, no, don't do that. You'll mess yourself up. And then you get basketball players who mess themselves up, and then when their career is over, the girl divorced their ass and go off and chase another basketball, football player. So you see how this works. Now, when I talk about self-improvement in my YouTube videos, I'm talking about how you can self-improve yourself in all 7 categories. Not just, I want to get laid because I want to get laid, but to get a house, a car, your finances, save money, learn how to talk better, learn how to understand people. And you see, in my situation, it's just like your guy's situation. You like a girl at your job or at the gym, and she already have a boyfriend, and most of us have to learn how to respect the boundaries. Now, I know some guys going to say, but that's bullshit, because if a girl's cheating on her boyfriend with a basketball and a football player, then that's hypocritical. It is hypocritical. But you know something that I learned in the martial arts? You can't be so focused on somebody else, because by the end of the day, what is that accomplishing for you? Does that person help you pay your bills? Does that person add value to your life? By the end of the day, you're losing value because you're focusing on someone else. And this was told to me by a martial arts master that was an 8th degree black belt in martial arts. And I'll never forget what he told me. He told me, when you go into the real world, expect the unexpected. Yeah, it's a scary place to go into, but by the end of the day, when you find out that there's a lot of things to do, the first time you're going to get rejected. Second time you get rejected, but somewhere the 3rd or the 4th time, someone out there is going to give you an opportunity to prove that you're great. You could be great in basketball, great in football, great in baseball, great in music, art. I made a video about that on my old YouTube channel before some jackass hacker hacked my stuff. So you guys can go to those old channels and watch those videos, because apparently I had Google put a clearance in there where they can no longer hack my channel. But unfortunately, I cannot have access to uploading videos because that would be complicated. But the point in this video is that a lot of men get frustrated when they're not being acknowledged by women. And I know it's tough. You go to high school, you go all of college being ignored by women. And I already told you that 99.99% of the time, when you do self-improvement, you're actually self-improving yourself for other women. So the woman that rejected you 5 times, 10 times, 15 times, 20 times. Hell, a woman could reject you 150 times. But by the end of the day, as long as you self-improve yourself and take the worst parts of yourself and transform into a better version of yourself, that's all that matters. Now, yeah, it will be 10 years later, 15, 20 years later, that you run into a girl from high school and college that didn't like you. Or it might be a girl at the gym or at your workplace, and she might look at you and say, so I heard you got your own business. And usually a lot of times guys be looking at the girl like, get the hell away from me. You didn't even want to have nothing to do with me when I was a nobody. And then when I become a somebody, you now want to have something to do with me. So yeah, men will complain that women are hypocritical and there's hypocrisy. But you have to understand something about that. Peer pressure is a son of a bitch, okay? How would you feel if you were a security guard without no gun and without no handcuffs and without the nightstick and the pepper spray and the taser, and the girl kind of looked at you like you're a sucker. Well, the police officer gets all the glory because it's a police officer. If it's a firefighter, he gets all the glory. If you're just a meaningless security guard, you can't take it personal if the girl go, well, I don't find a security guard without a gun physically sexually attractive. Or how would you feel if you was riding the bus or the train and the girl go, well, I don't date guys that ride the bus and the train. I mess with guys that have cars, trucks, motorcycles, and you don't have a car, you don't have a truck, you don't have a motorcycle, I can't deal with you. Or at least just take Uber. Well, women have some rules. Women have some standards. There are some women that will say in common practice, I don't deal with guys that I work out at the gym with. I've heard of that one, and some guys have cried and said that's hypocrisy because as soon as a bodybuilder or John Cena come up in the gym, then the girl breaks her own rules and now she wants John Cena. Yeah, it happens. And then there's some women that have common practice. They'll say stuff like, well, I don't date my coworkers. And then you might say, well, you date Mike. Well, Mike used to work here. Now Mike doesn't work here. Yeah, I've heard that too. So it happens. You got to learn how to respect some women's boundaries. I know some guys are going to say that's bullshit, and it is bullshit. But one thing you need to understand about self-improvement is that there's going to come a time and place where you going to have standards. And there's going to come a time where you're going to do common practice. And you're going to tell the woman, well, I don't mess with women that's fat and out of shape. Well, I don't mess with women that I went to high school and college with. Or I don't talk to women at my job because if you already have a boyfriend and you're trying to cheat on your boyfriend with me, you might cheat on me in the near future. So if women have rules, you should have rules. If women practice common practice, you should use common practice. Now, I know some women are going to say, oh, you're just doing it because you want revenge. Now, I have a thing about that. It's not good to always get revenge on women because you want to. Doesn't matter if you like the woman and the woman don't like you. You know how many times I've had women look at me and say, you're a nice, handsome guy, but because you don't have a car, I can't date you. Or because you don't make enough money, I can't date you. Or because we're so nice, I can't date you. And then 5 years later, these women come back and they go, do you play football? Do you play basketball? And I go, well, I go to the gym and I take great care of my body. And then some of these females will go, well, why are you rejecting me? Because I have standards, I have rules. And I am going to make a future YouTube video called There's Two Types of Women That Men Mess With in This World. And in that video, I'm going to break down the math and science and tell you which woman you want to get with. A woman that has respect or a woman that has no respect. Because the problem that me and most men have is that we chase women when we're not supposed to chase women. And we have a hard time making the distinction between a woman that has respect for you and a woman that has disrespect. And 90% of the time, we like to go after the woman that disrespect us versus the woman that respect us. Now, there are rules to the exception, but we don't think about that until we get 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, when we're more mature, where we're more experienced. And we're not trying to chase every piece of ass. See, right now, we're chasing every piece of ass that we come across. And some women kind of see that and go, he's thirsty. He's desperate. And then some old rich guy's got to pull you to the side and say, well, you got to stop chasing every piece of ass. Like, yeah, you're supposed to get some ass, but you're not supposed to chase every piece of ass. And if you get rejected by the girl you like, it's actually good. There are videos called It's Good to Get Rejected. Sometimes when you get rejected, you sometimes have no idea that the girl is actually saving you the trouble of being publicly humiliated. Like when some girls say, I gotta reject you because we work at the workplace, you should actually take that with great honor and pleasure. Because she's actually showing you a future where if you got with her, how your life would be. A lot of guys always want to know what it feels like to get with the girl that they saw in high school and college. And then guess what? If that ever happened, then the problem would be you would get into all these fights. Think about it. If you get into a fight with a girl at your job or at school or in the gym, that is a preview that if you get in a relationship with the girl, you're going to be fighting all the time in the relationship. So if you're fighting as potential friends or fighting as friends, what are you going to do in the relationship? What are you going to do in the marriage? So when some women reject us, it's actually a good thing. Sometimes it's good to be denied. It's like going to a computer and trying to access the computer to give you the code, and the computer say access denied. Instead of saying access denied, it'll say ass denied. Ass denied. Meaning you ain't getting no ass. But you see Chad and Tyrone get ass because they figure out how to get past the computer virus that say ass denied. So a lot of guys complain and say the hypocrisy of women. Well, women have standards, they have expectations, they're a little high, but self-improvement teaches you to have standards. Self-improvement teaches you to practice common practice. So I'm just trying to tell you that in this YouTube video, that yeah, women can be kind of, hypocrites. But you got some men that are hypocritical. And I'm not trying to take no sides. I'm just making this video because tomorrow's video is where I'm going to break down that particular discussion, that there's two types of women we go after. Women that respect us and women that disrespect us. And not too many YouTubers make those types of videos because they're too confusing. And what I mean by there's two types of women, what I'm trying to say is there is the super hot chick that respects you, that you don't know is out there until you run into her. And then there's the super sexy chick that you see all the time